turn me on.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Stop what you're doing
and listen.
You're tuned to JFB.
Make some noise, motherfuckers!
Gentlemen, time for
The one and only
JFB.
Roll the cut like this.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Switch.
JFB, Morty. He's here, Morty. Records, Marty. Better dance. Bring the funk back.
Here we go again.
I want you to get together. Put your hands together one time.
Andre, let me know when I'm on. Are we good?
Nice. Do this bit now, huh?
Yeah, we're right into it. If you want to turn the mic down in there, Andre. Are we live on the couch?
Check 1 2 1 2.
Andre? Okay, great. What is up, everybody? A little bit of a confusion there, of course. I'm Joshua Casper here with Plugin Boutique and DJ City, Beatport, literally everybody in the Beatport group today. And I'm joined by the one, the only JFB. JFB, thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I guess coming through, we came through to you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming here.
That was quite an incredible routine. I think everybody watching would agree.
Oh, thank you.
I've just got a quick question about that routine before we jump into the normal Q&A here. How much of that is a routine, as you might call it, and how much of it is freestyle?
It was three routines. It was 3 routines.
3 routines set up into
routines,
one.
and they're all routines. So everything's pre-planned, pre-made, pre-rehearsed.
But it's fair to say that's a little bit different every time.
Given the nature of moving records or like wobbling records, making sounds like different velocities, yeah. But the actual every single scratch, every single beat juggle is supposed to be the same every time.
Oh wow!
I mean, there's one bit in the drum and bass glitch hop beginning routine where there's a body trick that I sometimes decide not to do.
Okay.
If it's going to be too jumpy, and this time I decided to do it but last second and kind of hesitated halfway through doing it. Did
it work out in the end, or?
I don't care. I mean, it's all fun, man. As long as people have fun, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it was out where I am, and what
Yeah.
I heard, it was an absolute banger. The whole thing from the beginning to the end. So I just want to jump in and say that not only are we joined by JFB in his studio, but we are also giving away a pair of Reloop decks today. That's pretty massive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're giving away 7,000 MK7000. No, MK2s. A Reloop 7,000 MK2s, a pair of them to one lucky winner. I've got some people helping me in the chat. They're going to be putting a link to a page where you're going to put in your name and your email, and at the end of the stream, we're going to pick somebody at random. We've got some scientists behind the scenes that are going to do that for me. And in fact, we're going to have 4 additional winners of some other great prizes. It's a lot to give away, and I can't remember it all right now. So just check out that page. And if you're interested in being or taking part in the giveaway, put your name and email in there, and we'll pick 5 lucky winners at the end of the stream.
Yeah, and big up Reloop.
Absolutely. And Serato and Plugin Boutique, Loopcloud as well. Everybody who's contributed to this and making this happen, it's absolutely fantastic. We were actually talking when we got started about my first pair of belt-driven turntables and what I went through to get those. And to be able to Reloop allowing us to give somebody a pair of decks to get started out of the gate, I think is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
You have some... You've used Reloop turntables. Were you actually using them in there tonight, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been using them for years. I think they're great.
Yeah. Which you've got the 8,000s?
These are the 8,000 MK2s. So these are the ones that have got the platter play function, which allows you to change key, change notes, and set scales, and all sorts of crazy stuff. Absolutely
phenomenal. So we'll leave links to that as well if you want to check out the 8,000s, but we will be giving a pair of 7,000s away today. Equally good. We actually discussed that in a segment that we'll play later on. I've seen it in action. It's absolutely phenomenal, that the key switching that you can do with those, with essentially MIDI triggers, yeah?
Yeah, what it does is, I think the MIDI, I'm not sure, but they change the actual speed of the platter. So it's not doing it in... It's not time stretching it. Oh,
it's not doing it in software. It's actually changing.
It,
oh my gosh!
Like organically, it's changing the speed of the deck in increments of notes to do in increments of pitch to create notes, and they worked out how to set scales.
That's amazing.
You can even put your own user scale in there, so you can choose each note that you want. But obviously, it's down to the sound you originally use.
That's absolutely phenomenal, because as we were saying, I started with belt-driven turntables, and for people who don't know, that would never be possible. I guess the torque on those is so fast, because in the video, the performance I saw you do, it's really just real-time changing of that pitch. So that's pretty intense.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to show everybody that. Can you walk me through the evolution of JFB, sort of where you started, the middle of the road to where you are today? How long ago was it when you started DJing, or actually even knew that you wanted to be a DJ? Was there something that inspired you?
1996, yeah.
1996?
So, yeah, from 1993 onwards. I had 2 older sisters.
Okay.
And I used to sneak into their bedrooms and steal their cassettes, because I had no idea what kind of music I wanted to listen to, but I kind of liked everything. And there was some like old rave, like jungle techno cassettes, like as well as things like Prodigy, but there's lots of like underground British rave music cassettes that their DJ friends, obviously I didn't know this, but they had done a mix for them or whatever and given them this cassette.
Oh really?
And I went and I heard this and I was like, wow, like the music's not stopping. So that's when the first time I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how mixing was done. I thought it was all synthesizers. And then when I was 16, I went to some raves. I kind of at school I was like bullied, like a little bit, not that much, or I was also a bit of a nightmare as well, but like I went to the raves and there were the bullies were there, and so were the kids who didn't fit in, and everyone was like really nice to each other at the raves.
Yeah, just vibing.
Yeah, everyone was
nice.
Vibing, and that made me realise I kind of I like this kind of thing. This is great. And the music, the bass, I hadn't experienced bass subs, stuff like that, so I was like really intrigued. I was like, what is a DJ, what do they do? Because I want to be involved in this. I want to do something, I love music so much. And then the last day of school, a friend of mine had Tommy, who was a DJ, said, do I want to come see? It's on turntables, use records. I was like, what, really? And I went to his house, I saw it, he showed me mixing. I kind of basically understood it. I had saved up some money, like £50 at this time, and I had like my parents' old hi-fi setups. They had 2 tape players, so I went out and got like a really crappy turntable, like no pitch control or anything, and I was like mixing from that to cassette.
Oh wow!
Then I was slowly upgraded. I found this £10 mixer. It was called the Synergy T1000. Amazing, like for £10. at the time, 1996 from Richer Sounds. It was great, had that. And then I kept upgrading the turntables. I'd find one for £10, £20, whatever, and they would have, like 4%. One had 6% pitch control, stuff like that. And then after about a year or a year and a half, a friend of mine came over who had been DJing for a while, and he had these. They were called Ariston. They're belt drive decks, but these big wooden square turntables. They had a round pitch control.
Okay.
But they were pretty solid, and he was scratching on them.
So was it one-way needle or bi-directional needles at that time? Or were you just absolutely destroying the vinyl?
A bit of both, really.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I had these Ariston turntables, and they were pretty solid, and he was pulling off some cuts on it, and he showed me transforming. And on that Sony T1000 mixer it had like a phono switch, and he was using that to transform with. I was like, show me how to do that. And he's like, oh, it's easy, you just do that. And so I spent a day doing that, and all of a sudden I could start transforming. That turned into chirps. And
what is transforming for the people who might not know?
So when you go,
that sums it up. If you don't get it, then that's phenomenal. So you would learn on belt-driven turntables, which is where I started as well. Do you think that has helped you now that we have direct drive and such?
I think people can learn to DJ or anything. It doesn't matter if you start on like the top equipment, it's fine. I don't really think there should be this stigma on like, I started on belt drive decks.
Yeah.
No one's a real DJ until they have this in front of them. That kind of annoys me. I think
you embrace the technology.
I've seen people kill it on old iPods with crowds, absolutely destroy it, make it amazing. And I've seen people with amazing equipment do terrible things, as well as the opposite.
What do you mean by iPods?
I've seen DJs DJ with an iPod, just like playing a track with a mic, and absolutely making the crowd go mental.
Nice. I suppose it's all about the music coming out of the speakers in the end, isn't it?
The vibe, yeah, it's the music, the vibe. They're just endless amounts of things you can do and create with all kinds of audio equipment.
What would you say your go-to mixer is these days?
At the moment, it's the Pioneer S11.
Okay. What about that particular mixer is a standout for you?
I really like the way the fader feels, and I really like the way the waveforms are displayed on that mixer.
Is that here in the studio now?
Yeah.
Which one is it? Because we've got quite a few mixers in the studio.
There's one there and there's one there.
Oh, it's this one
I'm
right
pretty
here.
spoiled at the moment with equipment. So.
But that's the
S11, and the one I was using earlier just now was the S11.
So people would have seen the top-down view, and we're actually going to slide over here in a minute to get a nice look at that one again. So we actually reached out to talk to you because we saw an interview you did with, was it Future Music Magazine?
Yeah, there was an event in Brighton called the Brighton Music Conference, and I was very luckily invited down to that to do a seminar, like a scratch workshop in front of whoever was there, whatever. And turned out Future Music Magazine were doing a piece on it, or they were there hosting it and filming it at the same time. And yeah.
Nice. Okay. And in that interview, you actually mentioned how you were using Loopcloud, which is obviously one of the companies. We're part of the Beatport group, and Loopcloud is a part of that. And we had met before years ago, and I think I'm the sort of the catalyst to getting you into Loopcloud to begin with. So we reached out and we're like, hey, let's do another stream. Let's get a catch up, and that's what we're doing today. And we actually came down earlier last week and did a little segment with you on how you use Loopcloud and start a DJ routine. I think we should play that now. What do you think?
I think we should play that now as well.
Yep, that's it. That's the cue.
My name is JFB. I am 3 times world DMC champion, and I'm here to show you how I use Loopcloud to make tracks and scratch routines. Right, so I've just loaded up my previous Loopcloud session where I've used up, I think, 7 tracks here. Track 1, I've just got this drum loop. And then track 2, I've got this bass. Track 3, I've got some horns on top. With Loopcloud, I find it really easy to search for samples. You just literally go to the search bar, you type in what you want, and then loads of stuff just pops up. You can search for the key by selecting this tab up here, or you could select a key from this little keyboard at the top right corner. So for example, if I want F, and I've got them all here basically. And then also I've got this guitar going on. Then this little guitar here. As you can see, I've done some little choppings up. In Loopcloud, you've got like a little editor box here where you've got all your basic editing controls, which is great. Yeah, the whole thing was really quick to put together. The system they've got set up, they've just got millions of samples which you can access online. You can load your own samples into it. But for me, I found it really quick and easy to use just by loading this up. I just look for a random drum sample, I then put it in and then look for normally a bass line. If I like the bass line, I normally get it to lock the key of that bass line and then search for everything else in that key. And yeah, it took me 5 minutes pretty much to just get this. And that's obviously really useful for coming up with ideas for tracks on the fly, really. And also, for, in my case, scratch routines. Right, so I'm just going to load up this other session which I use for the scratch routine. So I found this piano sample which I really liked. I then found this awesome bass line. And then this pad-like sample, which fit on top of nicely. I then found these awesome strings. Which I chopped up later, I'll show you that in a bit. Also found this nice horn. And this vocoded kind of sample, which I thought would be good to scratch. Also, this sound here, which is the flute tone which I use in the scratch routine, which you'll see in a bit. So what I did is all of these tracks here, I wanted to export as audio files. The BPM here is 175 BPM that I set because I wanted to make a drum and bass track. So what I do is you go to export and you pick processed separate files. If I selected original separate files, all the samples would be in their original BPMs and out of time and stuff like that. So click process separate files and export to location, pick what I want, desktop. It then will send all the files to my desktop. Right, so what I did was I imported all those files into Logic here. And as you can see, that string I chopped into just 3 notes and looped. On top of that, I had the piano, and then I added the bass line there and that pad here. The first flute down here. Got the second main flute down there. And I've got that vocal sample here. And so basically what I did with all that is I then chucked in some drums from another track and built a little arrangement. Just going to skip ahead. Kind of made like a real basic track there, but what I wanted to do is turn that into a scratch routine. So given that I made this arrangement, I then worked out in my head some sort of guesses on what I want to scratch and how I want to scratch it. So what I did was I then bounced down the track separately again into audio files to test. So we've got this. That's like a backing track for me to scratch things on top of. I've got the bass separate, this flute, the horn, this melody, the vocal sample, those strings, and the piano sample. After putting those sounds into Serato, scratching with them to test them out, I then went back and forth from this arrangement here and this very simple looking one here. And this is the actual scratch routine audio. So what I've got is in the top track here, I've got silent audio waves, which represent the time of each revolution of the turntable. Now I'm just going to grab my record here. This marker here on my Serato timecode is basically what I use to pinpoint the sound I'm going to scratch. It's basically like Instead of using headphones, I use this visual marker, and it allows me to find the samples quicker. I worked out that one revolution of the deck running at 0 pitch on 33 RPM is exactly 1.8 seconds. This also translates to one bar being 133.333 BPM. Because of that, I then bounce down a silent audio wav to use as a marker. These two tracks here are the left deck, and to start with, I put the audio of the strings. And then on the next revolution comes in the flute, which I scratch. And then with that Move It sample, what I did was I time stretched it so it would sound longer, like more like a tone. And because it was a vocoder sample, the actual reduction on quality by time stretching it actually made it sound better for scratching. So that's literally, up to this point here, is all I really do on the left deck, apart from this bit. It's a little sample of the backing track, which I use for beat juggling at the end. That's the left turntable. And on the right deck, I've got the strings again. And then after one revolution, my marker spot, it then goes into the backing track. So the whole duration of this, I'm just scratching these samples on top. Luckily, we're using the Reloop RP-7000 MK2 Turntables for this routine, and they have got this incredible feature which allows you to change notes and set your own notes in scale. Coincidentally, this flute and this time-stretched sample are the root key of this track. What I did in Serato was I put an auto loop in Serato in certain sections, and so that if I let the record play, it just carries on looping. And given the function in the Reloop decks, I'm able to change key while scratching with them. Yeah, so these decks are amazing. What I've got going is I've got a flute sample which is looped in Serato. And these buttons down here allow me to change key. It actually changes the speed of the deck. So what you can do is called platter play. Basically, you select platter play, and then you can set different scales. It's got tons of different scales. So this actual flute sample is luckily the root note of the track. So starting down here, and yeah, so the green ones go up, and the red ones go down. So there you go, I'm JFB. That's how I use Loopcloud to make my scratch routines, and thanks for watching.
All right. How's everybody feeling out there? By the way, if you've got any questions for JFB, just at Plugin Boutique, if you're on the Plugin Boutique YouTube channel, or just ask them wherever you're watching, and I'll get fed them in a little bit, and we'll try to get them answered here live on stream. In this next segment, JFB is going to walk us through some of the skills that he's procured over the years of being a DJ. JFB, take it away. Another impromptu session real quick. JFB, we got a question coming in from one of the people watching. What is a piece of turntable or mixer technology you would like to see implemented in the near future?
Lots of stuff. Some sort of projection or some kind of visualization coming on the platter for visual display.
Sort of, you mean like the time position, kind of like you have your tables marked or your records marked here,
or something like waveforms coming up, so they look like you can see the waveforms on the record live. Yeah. That would be cool. Or maybe something like an air bubble sack that can be blown up underneath the decks to with also somehow adding weight for stability, so that eliminates bass vibrations for decks with needles.
Right. But I actually saw you in the Loopcloud video we just watched. There is a bit of technology that allows you just to circumvent needles altogether, isn't there?
Yeah. There's loads of we got Phase, which can wirelessly communicate with Serato and other things to control them, and also you got the Rain 12s turntables, which basically don't have any needles or anything whatsoever, and you USB them into the mixer, or they send a timecode signal which you can send via phono into the mixer to control Serato.
Wild. Someone else is wondering if you have a general idea of how long you would say it took you to master scratching in DJing in general.
I definitely not have mastered DJing or scratching at all. There's no end to learning. So forever.
Well, do you have a sort of guidelines for anyone who's looking to get into doing something similar to what you're doing here? Is there a place to start or anything along that? Should you start with mixing? Should you start with scratching?
I start with whatever you want. I mean, it's just fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about types of scratches? I know there's quite a few. There's a some sort of video series online where it's like explain something to first grader, sixth grader, and so on. Can you kind of walk us through the basic scratches to the more complex ones?
Yeah, sure. So I'm not that familiar with all the names, but this is a baby scratch. Which is basically, in my eyes, pretty much nearly anything you can do without the fader, without getting too advanced in tears. Tears are when you, instead of going forwards, backwards, you can go.
So that's a tear right there.
That was a tear, yeah. I'm not great at those, by the way. And then this is a chirp. And this is the transform. These are stabs. This is a boomerang, forwards, fader off. This is a reverse boomerang, fader off. This is the same thing but with the fader open going forwards. And the same backwards.
Which would you say to focus on more, the control with the hand on the deck or the control with the fader?
Whatever keeps you interested, to be honest. But one thing I will say is doing transforms are amazing because you pretty much can almost do any movement on the turntable, and the control is mostly on the fader. So, and one tip for practicing your fader control would be to have a long tone going on continuously like this, and then just transform it.
So I see you using multiple fingers there. Is that what the crab scratch? Am I correct with that, or am I off base?
Yes, I wasn't. I was doing other ones, not just the transform. So this is a crab. Just turn that down. Sorry. And you can do that with flares. Flare is when you chop the sound in half. So instead of going, so for example, if I move the record forwards, I have the fader open, and then I do one click, giving me two sounds. And this is a double click, triple click. So you can do that with crabs as well. So without doing the crabs would sound like this, but with the fade open be, so you get 4 instead of 3. So, and then these are twiddles, and then you can use them to do double click orbits, which are the double click flares.
That's pretty wild. You said you didn't know the names, but it seems like you do know quite a lot of the names.
I kind of said it just in case I got it wrong.
DJ City's in the house, so I'm sure there'll be people letting us know. What other are some of the bags of tricks that a DJ might need to know or might want to know? Something like a beat juggle or something like that?
Yeah, beat juggling is a lot of fun. That is pretty much when you can have anything on either deck, but if you have the same thing, you can just loop it like this. Or you could go faster. Or you could add scratches to it. Or you could do it without, I'm doing it just on the 1, so I'm dropping it on the 1. But you could use the snare.
That's pretty dope. Do you invert your fader or do you keep it normal?
I keep it normal. Inverting it, which is called hamster, would confuse the hell out of me.
I'd never even knew it was called Hamster. It's pretty dope. On the back of your mixer here, what's your curve like as well?
Oh, so the fader cut-in point is on max. So all I have to do is move it that much.
And that would be 100% in.
They can see this, right? There's a camera right there.
Yeah.
Okay, right, just checking.
He's barely moved it, folks, if you can't see. So that's like zero. It's like a toggle almost.
Yeah. Sometimes I will change that so it's a bit more difficult to get. For just for a bit of practice,
Absolutely. What is there anything else we can show the folks before we jump into the final routine?
Cue points, I suppose.
Cue points, 100%.
I'm sure people know about this already, but this is just the files I've got loaded up here. I've got some scratch samples after the track. So you can use obviously cue points to do untold amount of fun things, and there's no end. I keep seeing turntablists, DJs using them in really creative new ways all the time, but you can just have loads of fun with them. I mostly use them just to use them as cue points to move from bit to bit.
So is this like you essentially have one track playing it, and this isn't going to switch to a new track, it's just going to switch to a new position on a longer track that might have 3 or 4 tracks in a sequence?
Yeah. But there is a thing called Scratch Bank in Serato which allows you to set up 8 tracks on each side, so you just hit the cue point to get to the tracks.
What are some of the built-in effects here on the mixer as well?
So we have the echo effect, which I'm pretty sure everyone uses. I've seen a lot of amazing creative DJs use that to do live looping. Oh, wow. There's one DJ in particular called Prime Cuts from Scratch Perverts, who's one of my idols from back in the day, and he is doing lots of cool stuff on his Instagram. If you go check him out, he does a lot of like really cool looping using the echo. This mixer's got a really cool flanger. We've got a phaser set up. Got a final break, which I don't normally use, but let's see. That's pretty cool. I should use that more actually. We've got backspin. That's great, and reverb. So one of my friends who's like one of the best DJs in the world, Mr. Switch, was showing me on this mixer. It's actually got also synths built in, so you can actually I haven't got it set up, I can't remember how to get it quick enough here, but it creates a tone and you can change the key with the fader. Oh, wow. Which is pretty cool. So what it does is I think it takes away the audio for whatever you're playing. When you put the effect on, it'll just play a straight tone, and this will change the key of that tone, and you can change the scale of the notes that it changes to with the up fader. So you could bust out like a transform pattern with a crossfader, and you can change notes there.
So it'll like lock to different notes in the scale.
Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. That kind of leads me to some questions. We have a few people wondering about your inspirations in the moment, or people, other performers, or DJs, or talents that people should be checking out.
Oh God, everyone. It doesn't matter who it is. There's everyone's doing something, and it's worth checking out. A lot of my idols through turntablism are like most of the legends like Craze, Mixmaster Mike, Qbert, all the Beat Junkies, all of them 8-track. Like I'd have to name like hundreds of names right now, but in terms of inspiration, like you could literally anyone.
Okay. One last question before we go into the final routine. Someone's wondering about what particular stylus are you using, which do you recommend, and how many do you go through a year?
Styles? What do you mean? Oh, styluses. Right. Too many.
Too many. Give me ballpark it for me.
Probably like, it depends. Like sometimes maybe 12 a year or something.
Nice. And any particular brand that sticks out?
Well, I still use the Shure M447 cartridges, but they stopped selling them like a couple of years ago. But there's other brands. There's like one brand called Tonar who make a replacement stylus for this. It's quite affordable as well.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for that lesson there.
Thanks.
I think people are ready to hear you go and do the final thing. Yep, absolutely. I hear it's 100 drum and bass tracks in 10 minutes, which is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, JFB for one final performance.
And now,
Oh yeah! Wicked, wicked. Jungle is massive. Now hear this. Now before making records, the hood was my savior.
JFB.
Come and go pop
my monkey.
Push up your hands right. Push up your hands right.
J, the F, the J, the F, the B, J, the F, the B. Super shock. Body bag.
Where we go from here, where we go from here. Where we go from here, where we go from here. Everybody wanna know me come so. Doctor, I didn't name me fresh out of the jungle. Me here I talk, if it don't be humble. Them not just say when me start, you a fire rumble. Where we go from here, when we go from here. Well, talk how me feel, me not in a mumble. Man a rain, but man you better run to. We all of the girl, them a come to. Go from here, where we go from here. Shining bright like we glow from here. No, we a go blow, 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 blow.
Was queen of the mumble, Papa was king of the Congo. Down, 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 down.
Alright, that's the tune. Request to all the man and you also know so no rate to the set as a whole yes.
No config hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly, slowly, slowly.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You have been listening to and watching
JFB. B.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, come back. Hang out. We've got some winners. But first of all, that was 100 drum and bass tracks in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's about 100 in there.
I need confirmation on this. We've promoted it as such. I need 100% confirmation it's 100 tracks.
Yep.
And if you can name them all, you get a prize. I don't know what it is. But speaking of prizes, before we jump into announcing, we do have 5 winners of 5 incredible just packages of prizes. I just want to say thank you. Big shouts out to everyone who's watching, everyone who broadcasts the stream today. JFB, of course, Andre in the production room, switching scenes for us, and just Reloop for being just absolute legends and allowing me and JFB and everybody else to give somebody a pair of turntables today. Serato also chipping in, Excite Audio, Plugin Boutique, Loopcloud, just everybody. It was a big group effort, and I think it's just absolutely been phenomenal. I've had a lot of fun. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
All right, so here we go. We got the winners. Now, as you know, if you entered to win, you had to put your name and your email into the form. I'm not going to say your email live on stream, obviously, but I do have your name, and that's the best I can do. I'm going to say your name, and then our team is going to reach out through email. So I get a bit of suspense on whether or not you are the actual person. But the 5th place winner of an Excite Audio Plugins bundle, including console and Expanse, is Frank. That's Frank M7000 at somewhere. Congratulations. 4th place, Serato Sample and Big Kick. Those are 2 incredible plugins. One by Serato, obviously. The other one by Plugin Boutique. Is Christina. Christina with an 8. You know who you are. Congratulations. 3rd place. That's pretty weird that I've just got to be like, I wonder how many Franks tuned in today. You know what I mean? Yeah. Next up, 3rd place. Oh, I've got okay. 3rd place, Serato DJ Pro Suite License, Albert. That's Albert. Somebody. You'll be. I really don't know how to do this. I really only have. Okay, no. I've got. Okay. So Frank from Staten Island. That's much better. Frank from Staten Island. Christina. We don't know where Christina is from. Albert from the UK. Didcot? Is that a place? That's the UK, bro. You don't know Didcot? Okay. Albert from the UK. Congratulations. Serato DJ Pro Suite License. 2nd place, Loopcloud Studio Pro account, Serato Sample, and Scalar 2, Lucian from Romania. And finally, the winner of the Reloop Turntables, Serato DJ Suite, and a pair of a Serato control vinyl in the color red, is Chris. So just applause. Can we get an applause, Andre? That's Chris from Quebec. Chris from Quebec, congratulations. This is huge. You were just in Canada, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in Quebec though, but I've been before and it's great.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, congratulations, Chris. And just a big shout out to Reloop, Serato, Plugin Boutique, Loopcloud, Excite Audio, everybody that tuned in, JFB, Andre, Simon, the whole team. Thanks a lot. I'm Joshua Casper, and I will see you in the next stream.